Morning students. Today we are going to take third poem in our book First Flight. The title of the poem is A Tiger in the Zoo. It is written by Leslie Norris. Now just see here, look at the picture. As the title tells, tiger in a zoo. Similarly, the picture tells us how a tiger lives in a zoo. Now just let's start by comparing these two pictures. See, the one that shows the tiger in the forest, in the jungle, enjoying, and the other one, the tiger behind the bars in the narrow confines of the cage, put in a zoo, looking very sad, helpless. So, nobody loves to live in confinement. All living creatures, they love to be free. As these days, we people, we have been confined to the four walls of our own particular homes due to the quarantine. Similarly, this tiger is put behind the bar, is kept in a zoo to be there, and so that the visitors come, they have a look at the wild beasts and all that. But nobody loves to live in the imprisonment or in the confinement. So going by this idea, let's start reading the poem. These are the first 4 lines of the poem. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Once you read, I would suggest you all, if you have a copy of your textbook, please do keep that open in front of you along with a dictionary so that you can consult the dictionary for any difficult meaning. For your help, I would also be telling you the same. Yet, consulting a dictionary is always a very good habit. So what are these 4 lines saying? He stalks in his vivid stripes. He here refers to the tiger. Stalks means he walks slowly in his vivid, clear stripes, the lined pattern on the body of a tiger. The few steps of his cage. Now what do the few steps here refer to? Because the cage's boundary is quite limited, restricted. So obviously the tiger can take a few steps, can't move like a tiger could have moved in a jungle. On pads of velvet quiet. The padded feet of the tiger, they have been here compared to velvet. Velvet, which we all know is a fabric, is a cloth which is very soft when you touch it. And similarly, the tiger's feet, they are padded. They do not make any noise, quiet, calm when the tiger moves in his quiet rage. Now see, quiet, which refers to calmness, and rage, which is anger, two contrasting words have been used to express the tiger's feelings. So it is a literary device which is known as oxymoron, where two contrasting words have been employed, have been used to express one particular idea. So because the tiger knows that he cannot do anything inside the cage in the zoo, so he feels helpless, though he feels angry, yet quietly he has that anger inside, he doesn't express it. That's why the word quiet rage has been used here. Now this is the summary of the first paraphrase. You can go through it once again. What I have just described, you will find the same thing written over here. These are some of the words and their meanings which you came across while reading the first paragraph. So look at them once again. Let's go ahead with the second paragraph. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. He should be lurking in shadow. So in this paragraph, the poet, he imagines the tiger in his natural habitat. And what is the natural habitat of the tiger? That is the forest, jungle, the wilderness. So he says, instead of being here in the cage, if the tiger had been in the jungle, now what the tiger would have been doing? he would have been lurking in shadow, means he would have been hiding in the shadow of thick long grass, because he's a animal of prey who hunts to eat, who hunts to live. So obviously the tiger would be hiding somewhere in the thick long grass and bushes so as to attack on the prey. Near the water hole, water hole here refers to some river or some brook or some rivulet that is passing through the jungle, where other animals also come to quench their thirst. So he would be waiting there so as to target at some of the animals, maybe where plump deer pass, plump fat, maybe a young fat deer pass. So he waits near the water hole where he can have a good meal that day. So like this, see the tiger lurking in the shadow, in the long grass, in the bushes, how beautiful he looks. And this is how probably he may pounce at some plump young deer. This is the explanation to paragraph number 2, which I just have discussed with you right now. Looking at the imprisoned tiger, the poetess is filled with pity. She says that the poor tiger should have been in his natural habitat, and at this point of the night, the tiger would have been lying in the shadows of the tree and sliding quietly through the long grass. There, near the water hole, he would be waiting for some fat deer to pass that way. Thus, he would be lying there in expectation of a heavy feast. This is the glossary to paragraph number 2, lurking, hiding, and rest of the words. Go through them, own the words, use them in your own language. And these are certain literary devices which we came across while reading the first and second paragraph, and further also these literary devices would be needed. You already have been told about literary devices in your previous classes. In this class also we gave you a lecture about it, so you can always go back to that in case you have any difficulty. Like here we read alliteration, an example of alliteration: stalks in vivid stripe, where repetition of s and s is there in the same line. So repetition, velvet quiet and quiet rage. Oxymoron, I told you, quiet rage, where two contrasting words have been used to express one idea. And transferred epithet, where an adjective is wrongly placed, and metaphorically, where some words are used for comparison. So we'll continue with the next 2 paragraphs in the next lesson. Till then, revise these 2 and try to learn them. To be continued in the next lesson. Till then, thanks.